Controversial. Tinder, 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 Tinder. Tinder shows up in almost all my conversations. I think it's one of the finest platforms to learn about human behavior, especially what people write about themselves. There's always going to be some other app, but these dating apps teach us everything. When you take big paces, you leave big spaces. So, what does Tinder teach us? See, the idea of species is to be able to predict your behavior. So, when I'm hunting you, I know that you'll turn left, so I'll fire my arrow accordingly. This ideology does not exist with humans. I mean, there are 40 species of dolphins. 40 species of dolphins, the same bloody fish. But humans, all of us, irrespective of our behavior and our intentions, we are all bundled into one category called humans. So hunting them gets difficult. And that's where Tinder helps.
1, 2, 3, 4. Betty bought a bit of butter, but the butter was bitter. So Betty bought another butter to make the first bit of butter better.
A man and a wife are sitting and watching television. This is back in the time when you had to go down to an STD booth to make a call. The dude says, I'll call my mom. He goes down to the STD booth. There he meets a cute chick. There's some electricity between them. And 20 minutes later, they both are at it. 3 hours down, this guy looks at his watch and he's like, oh shucks, what am I going to tell my wife? So he throws some talcum powder on his hands, walks up to the front door of his house, rings the bell. She opens the door. Where the fuck were you? She says. Well, you know what, darling, I'm so sorry. I actually, there's this really cute chick at the STD booth, and she was like really eyeing me out, and I was eyeing her out, and I've been fucking her for the last 3 hours. She stares at him and says, show me your hands. And he reluctantly takes out his hands and shows his powder-coated hands. And she looks at him and says, you're out playing pool again, weren't you? Wikipedia has a page dedicated to the list of love and lust deities. These are mythology characters. These are gods. You could call them whatever you want to. From the Western Niger Congo, Egyptian, Mesopotamian, Albanian, Slavic, Celtic, Germanic, Chinese, Asian, Americans, Indians, 77 gods dedicated to coitus. If you take the weight of all the bacteria inside the human body, how much do you think that will be? In how many grams do you think that will be? 100 grams, 200 grams, 500 grams, 1000 grams, 3000 grams, 15,000 grams? Now, if you think about it, how do you measure bacteria? Let me give you a perspective. You've got a body of water that's got some number of fish. Okay, it's a large body of water. It's 10 kilometers wide, 10 kilometers deep. And it's got a lot of fishes in it. How are you going to go about calculating the number of fish? A really large bunch of fishes together. How are you going to be accurate in calculation? In one way, take a time snap. Yeah, you take a snap, a photograph of something in time. And that's going to tell you how many fishes are there at that instant. The important part really here is who's going to prove you wrong. So if somebody's telling you 3000 grams of bacteria exist in your body and they happen to be wearing a lab coat, they probably are right. Hey, well, we've all grown up to assume that people in lab coats are usually right. Tell me I'm wrong. The Code of Hammurabi.
और जब ये 2.5 किलो का हाथ किसी पर पड़ता है ना, तो आदमी उठता नहीं, उठ जाता है. Relax, boy.
Barbie the doll, her full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts. Did you know that? If I was Rose from the Titanic, I would know Jack was lying the minute I met him. The dude tells me that he went ice fishing in Wissota in Wisconsin. That's a lake called Wissota. That lake, Wissota, was formed in 1917 because there was a hydroelectric dam that they were putting up on the Chippewa River. And this is full 5 years after the Titanic sank. She didn't know this. Educate yourself, save yourself.
अपनी तो जैसे तैसे, थोड़ी ऐसे या वैसे, अपनी तो जैसे तैसे, थोड़ी ऐसे या वैसे, कट जाएगी.
About 1700 years before Jesus lived a king in Mesopotamia in Babylon. His name was Hammurabi. No last name, I don't know his last name. He ruled with 282 laws, some of which are very interesting. Men could have extramarital affairs with maidservants, with slaves, whoever they wanted. But if a woman found a lover outside her husband, both of them will be bound and thrown into the river.
There is a code. Bros before hoes, man.
Regarding law, if I accuse you of having stolen my goat, you will be tied up and thrown into the river. The river is the god that will find out the truth. If she does not consume you, if she does not kill you, that means you were right and I was wrong. Which means you didn't steal my goat. Which means my house will now become your house. That was how you serve justice. But if the river does kill you, which will happen because you would be tied up and then thrown into the river. That is the method of the river god. He. You will die, and because you will die, I will take your house. I already took your goat. Deep doubts, deep wisdom. Small doubts, small wisdom. Simple stuff. If I take out your eye, you can take out my eye. If I knock out your teeth, you can knock out my teeth. If I thrash a pregnant woman, that's okay, as long as the child doesn't die. If her child in the womb dies, I've got to pay her 10 shekels. But if she dies, my daughter dies. And if I don't have a daughter, well, Hammurabi will decide.
अपना तो खून पानी, जीना मरना बेमानी. अपना तो खून पानी, जीना मरना बेमानी. वक्त की हर अता है अपनी देखी भाली. आपका क्या होगा जनाबे आली, आपका क्या होगा. अपनी तो जैसे तैसे, थोड़ी ऐसे या वैसे. अपनी तो जैसे तैसे, थोड़ी ऐसे या वैसे, कट जाएगी. आपका क्या होगा जनाबे आली, आपका क्या होगा. अपने आगे ना पीछे, ना कोई ऊपर नीचे. अपने आगे ना पीछे, ना कोई ऊपर नीचे. रोने वाला ना कोई रोने वाली, जनाबे आली आपका